Every great city has its tales, and I've been documenting their stories and people for over 20 years. This is Tales of a City.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Support Act lunch today. It's nice to see you all, and I'm very fortunate to be able to introduce to you our special guest for today's luncheon, a man that has probably forgotten more about entertainment business than I'll ever remember. Would you please welcome to the stage Mr. Malcolm Harslett.
Hello everyone. I'm delighted to be here because, even though you didn't ask me that, because I never knew this existed. So I've been talking to everybody over there and discovering, what all this is, which is brilliant.
Support Act is an extraordinary organisation that does
Well, it'd be
support.
nice if the union actually contributed further towards that as well, because that's what the benevolent fund is supposed to be for.
Exactly. I mean, we are here for not only the musicians, but those connected with the music industry, etc.
It's the same union.
Yes, indeed. And let's face it, none of us have superannuation generally.
No, that's very true.
Indeed. Now, Malcolm, you have been in the entertainment industry since the wheel was made, I think.
Actually, the real truth is, and no one's ever asked me this question before, so I'll tell you the truth. I started when I was 3, so this year I'm celebrating my 65th year in show business, which is sort of odd.
That's
But
extraordinary.
the good thing is that I've never been that famous. I've always just been sort of down there somewhere, and that means you keep working.
Well, interesting you should say that, because I grew up as a child, and I always knew your club. When I grew up watching you, you were a very big influence in my life. I mean, you were Mr. Channel 9 here in Adelaide.
I wouldn't go that far, but that's very kind
Well,
of you.
we certainly considered that. I mean, let's face it, you worked with the greats. Humphrey,
Yeah.
Winky did.
I did. But do you know, in truth, there were 2 people that were probably most influential. One was Ernie Sigley, because Ernie really taught me more about working live television, probably than anybody else, apart from Patsy Biscoe, and I'll tell you that story too. But Ernie, my office used to be at Channel 9, when I was producing, used to be next to Ernie's office. And this is a quick story. One night, somebody, I can't remember who it was on the Don Lane show in Melbourne. And I said to her, "Did you see Fred last night on the Don Lane show?" She said, "No, I never watched it." I said, I would have thought you would have, so that you saw what he was going to talk to. And he said, "No, because if I saw that interview, I wouldn't ask the guy any of the questions that Don might have asked him." That's right. The other person was Patsy Biscoe, for those of you who remember Patsy.
Fabulous woman.
One of the best television technicians I've ever seen, but she always had an idiot sheet beside the camera, even for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And that was part of the art of Patsy, because her whole concentration went into the performance, not remembering the lyrics of the song or the chords, which makes sense when you think about it, but everything was about that. You could sit beside Patsy and you wouldn't see what the camera saw of her. She has this amazing through to the people sitting at home.
She does, actually, yeah.
And the other one
Yeah.
is Anne Wills, because Anne Wills, Anne is a true original. She wasn't trained to be a performer or a comedian, and Anne worked on intuition. So, when you watch these people, local people who talk locally to local people, which hopefully I can still do, you realise that's why they're popular, because they understand how to communicate properly.
Well, that and the familiarity that we have as an audience watching you over the years, you become like family to us and we feel comfortable.
It's true. Somebody came up to me the other day and was talking to me, and she said, "Oh, I've known you for so long. You were in repertory theatre." And I said, "No, I wasn't." "Oh, well then you must have been with some other theatre." "No, I wasn't." "Well, I know you so well. You must have been with..." And this went on for quite some time. And you can be polite and say, "Oh, yes, of course I was." But I wasn't. So I said finally, it's probably the telly thing. Oh, of course, she said.
The penny drops.
That's how I know.
Yes. I mentioned earlier that I grew up watching you on children's television in the afternoon. You were always quite an inspiration to me, in particular, magic. Now, magic is something that you have great love of. Do you still perform magic at all?
Not really. I think because of having Star Theatres and for all the years we were there, particularly in the 90s when we were producing regularly, we did a few shows, I wrote a few shows that had a magic component or stage magic component to it. To me.
Well, you've been associated with, in particular, with a couple of extremely famous magicians, Gene Raymond.
What a lovely man. Gene was in many ways the father of all, or grandfather, let's say, of magicians. He had this little turned up moustache. He had grey wavy hair that was always slick tracked out. If mine was wavy, it looked like that. He had this everyman thing about him. In fact,
Raymond Crowe.
Yes. So I said to Gene, is there anybody young, because this is a kids show, is there anyone young coming up that we should have on TV? He said, there's this young lad called Raymond Crowe. He's definitely got it. He said, you know, you should be looking at him. So I rang Ray. Ray said, he was 14 years old, I think I'm a bit young to be on TV doing what I do yet. When he was 16, he came into one of the schools we were running at the time called the Variety School, and he said, I'd like to learn more. Gene has told me you should. And I was the best man at his wedding, so we became very close friends. So we still are. In fact, the shadow puppets, or the shadow
job.
Yeah, stuff.
For those of you who aren't familiar, you may have seen a couple of years ago, the famous What a Wonderful World clip done with the shadow silhouette jockey that was on David Letterman. That's the one.
The Royal Variety Command performance. But my story about that is I was probably the first person to see him do it. He showed me with a spotlight, not the one he uses, because that took a long time to find a light that didn't cast multiple shadows, just one single shadow. But on my blind in my lounge room was where I saw the shadow puppets.
Is that right?
He showed me a lot of his tricks.
He's an extraordinary man.
He's brilliant, man.
55 productions over 20 years.
You've been on the website. It's probably more than that now, because I wrote that a while ago, but that is true. And I wrote all of those.
Extraordinary. It's quite an input. You've worked with some amazing people down there, and you've had a very long association with some greats, in particular Phil Skinner.
Yep.
Tell us about Phil.
I was just talking to Phil this morning. Phil's 94 on Sunday. She's still performing. Earlier this year, I organised a tour with her and did a slideshow presentation, so she didn't remember her life story. But we did a tour sponsored by the Under Council to the retirement homes in the Under Council.
Out of the Square. Now, Out of the Square is, if you could explain to the folks exactly what Out of the Square is.
Okay, so 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, a group of 5 venue managers came together in the coffee shop in the front of the ASO. And I heard that there was something going on where they were looking to program daytime shows and nighttime shows, but collectively, so that everyone got at least 5 or 6 runs of whatever show they developed. RCSA put in $50,000, the government had money then, to get this thing started eventually and to set up all the infrastructure that needed to be, like with insurances and things that covered all those sorts of things.
And Cabaret Under the Star is about to take place. Tell us about that.
So it began because I just got pissed off with government funding and all the other nonsense that everybody seems to get but me. And I thought, there's only one way, and because of being the programmer for Out of the Square, which I've done for 9 of those 10 years, I'd got to know a lot of people in Adelaide who were performers, and I thought, the big issue here is the fringe comes into town, the performers who come in from overseas literally take whatever money they make away. They have more promoters behind them, and as a race of people, we tend to want to go and see something from someone else that comes from somewhere else.
The imported product is always better.
Yes. And that meant local people weren't getting at least money back for investing in the fringe. So I realised that local performers didn't get really much of a chance to make money. I thought it's really hard as an entrepreneur to pick up the bills for absolutely everything. So why don't we say, if you want to be part of the festival, we'll do all of the venue, the staff at the venue, the setup of the venue, the rehearsal time of the venue, that's all free to the performer. The performer just needs to turn up and we'll split the door. We're really on the losing side in many ways because if the performer doesn't sell, we lose because of that staff. But to try and alleviate that difficulty of losing for both of us, having multiple shows on the same night, and we have 6 to 8 shows on each day for 6 days, it meant that we would have a traffic flow. If you had a show on in that theatre and you weren't doing well, there'd be 2 shows finishing before yours that could feed your show. So by plugging everybody together and everybody selling at a festival, it meant people knew something was on, hey, we could go and have a good night.
As we all know, the entertainment industry is quite often self-serving. But to have a person such as yourself with such history and credibility and the ability to go to so much effort to support our local industry, and quite selflessly at times, obviously, I've known personally that you guys haven't might not have broken even. But you always keep at it and you always keep supporting.
The truth is, Jethro, I was lucky that in the years that I did have money, I put it away because I haven't drawn a wage from the company for nearly 20 years.
No, that's dedication.
But I'm not, but you know, I don't care. I mean, if I do care, I'd like to go for a trip to Europe again, but I think of it more in the terms of if I can work overseas, I can make that a holiday.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean.
There was, just quickly, there was one other thing I wanted to touch on. There's a very special woman in your life. And I thought it would be appropriate that I ask you, how did Mrs.
Where he's going with that, hang on, I've got a smart car, and I don't think of her as a female.
I knew this, but it'd be, what is it, going to ask me?
Did you say ask?
Ask.
Oh.
Mrs. Talk-a-Lot.
Oh, yes.
How did Mrs. Talk-a-Lot come along? Mrs. Talk-a-Lot was a character that Malcolm did many times.
She's a favourite. There's 2 favourite characters I have, Mrs. Talk-a-Lot and Cyril the Servant. Cyril is a bit like Graham Kennedy's old man, but a completely different type of character, but just, you know, says the obvious and the naughty things.
We happen to have one other thing in common, in as much as we both have a television show on Channel 44 and 31 nationally. Our time. It's been going for how long now?
6 years.
6 years.
I've been doing it 6 years, it's been going for 6.5.
It's a great show. You have an extraordinary variety in it. And for the first time in a long time in Adelaide television production, some live music, live to air. It's extraordinary.
Okay. Thank you, Jethro. It's been a pleasure.
You're very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please thank Mr. Malcolm Harslett.